Hello, good afternoon dear students. I am Dr. Kaleem Raza. Today we are going to discuss the blood supply of the upper limb. So first we will discuss the origin of blood supply, how oxygenated blood is transported to your tissues, and then how deoxygenated blood is back transported to your lungs for the oxygenation. So first of all you must make your concepts, basic concepts about the blood supply and about the cardiopulmonary circulation. You must make these concepts clear, okay? Basically you people know that origin of blood supply is your heart, and heart pumps in a minute at least 5 liters of blood, and major pumping portion of the heart is the left ventricle. So through aorta bloods enter into your whole body, and then this blood is transported ultimately from aorta to the arteries, and from arteries to the arterioles, and from arterioles to the capillaries, then to the tissues for the nutrients and oxygen and exchange of the gases. And then when this blood is contaminated and deoxygenated in the tissues, it transported through venules into veins and through vena cava back to your right side of the heart. So right side of the heart basically having deoxygenated blood, and left side of the heart basically having oxygenated blood, and then right atrium receiving your deoxygenated blood through veins, which we will discuss now, and then this deoxygenated blood enters into your right ventricle, and from right ventricle this deoxygenated blood enters into your lungs through the pulmonary arteries. So there are two pulmonary arteries. So let me draw please this structure of the heart and this cardiopulmonary circulation. Then we will discuss aortic arch, and then we will move forward to the blood supply of the upper limb, okay? So let's suppose this is your right atrium, this is your left atrium. This is right ventricle, this is left ventricle. As I have told that heart is a muscular pumping organ, and the heart also needs blood for its survival and for its normal function. So whole body blood which is used by heart is up to 5%, and it delivers your body in a minute 5 liters of the blood. So then its deoxygenated blood is coming back to your right atrium through from lower portion of the body through inferior vena cava, okay? From lower portion of the body through inferior. Let's suppose this is inferior vena cava, IVC, okay? This is inferior vena cava. So deoxygenated blood through your lower portion of the body, from lower limb and through from abdomen, coming back to your heart, deoxygenated blood in the right atrium through the inferior vena cava, and from head and neck and from upper limb this deoxygenated blood coming back to your right atrium through the superior vena cava, through, let's suppose this is SVC, this is superior vena cava. And as I have told that heart is also is a muscular organ, and it also need blood supply, and blood supply to heart is coming through the coronary arteries, okay? Right coronary artery and left coronary arteries, and deoxygenated blood from heart is coming back to the right atrium through the coronary sinus. So major vein in the heart is the coronary sinus. So let's suppose here is the coronary sinus, okay? And then from anterior surface of the right atrium and anterior surface of the right ventricle, the deoxygenated blood is transported to the right atrium through two anterior cardiac veins, okay? So let's suppose these are two anterior cardiac veins, two anterior cardiac veins. The function of two anterior cardiac veins is the transportation of deoxygenated blood from the anterior surface of the right atrium and the right ventricle. And coronary sinus is the largest cardiac vein which receive deoxygenated blood from the middle cardiac vein and from the other cardiac veins. So coronary sinus is the largest cardiac vein, remember, okay. and then two anterior cardiac veins receive deoxygenated blood from anterior surface, drain deoxygenated blood from anterior surface of the right atrium and right ventricle. So now this your right atrium having deoxygenated blood, and then deoxygenated blood enters into your right ventricle through which valve is present here? Through tricuspid valve. This valve having three cusps, okay? Through tricuspid valve, and then through tricuspid valve it enter into the right ventricle, and from right ventricle this deoxygenated blood you have to basically transport this deoxygenated blood to your lungs for the oxygenation, okay? So this is now pulmonary valve. This is also called a semilunar valve, and this is the pulmonary artery. So basically now you have to transport this deoxygenated blood to your lungs, okay? So deoxygenated blood is transported to your lungs through two pulmonary arteries. So pulmonary artery is the only artery which carry deoxygenated blood. All arteries carry oxygenated blood, remember, okay? Then so pulmonary artery carry deoxygenated blood, right pulmonary artery to the right lung and left pulmonary artery to the left lung, and then carbon dioxide is excreted and exhaled, and then oxygen is coming back to your blood, and then you have to transport oxygenated blood into your left atrium. So left atrium receive oxygenated blood through 4 pulmonary veins. Remember, pulmonary veins are 4 in number, 2 from each lung. So pulmonary veins are the veins which carry oxygenated blood. All veins carry deoxygenated blood, okay? So 4 pulmonary veins carry, these are 4 pulmonary veins, okay? 2 from each lung. This oxygenated blood, this is the now oxygenated blood, okay? And oxygenated blood then from left atrium enters into the left ventricle, and left ventricle is the strongest chamber of the heart, because it have to pump blood through the largest vessel, which is the aorta, okay? Now oxygenated blood from left atrium enter into the left ventricle. So this is aortic valve, also semilunar in shape. So this is aorta. So this is now ascending aorta, and ascending aorta here it gives 2 branches, right coronary artery and left coronary artery, which supply to your heart, okay? Then it makes arch. So this is now aortic arch, and then aortic arch give 3 major vessels, which we will discuss here: brachiocephalic trunk, the common carotid arteries, and the subclavian arteries we will discuss in detail. Then it comes down, this is called as descending thoracic aorta. Then descending thoracic aorta in thorax, it give branches, important branches to your pericardium, to your lungs, and to esophagus. Then enter into diaphragm, through the aortic opening enter into the abdomen, which is called as abdominal aorta, and abdominal aorta give important arteries which supply to your foregut, midgut, and hindgut. And then abdominal aorta at the level of L4 bifurcate into the iliac arteries. Then iliac arteries divides into external and internal iliac arteries, which supply, internal iliac arteries supply to these pelvic organs, and then external iliac artery goes down and it's supplied to your then lower limb. So this is a whole sketch of the blood supply. We will discuss here today the blood supply of the upper limb. Okay. So now we will draw here the aortic arch and branches of the arch of the aorta. We are heading forward towards the blood supply of the upper limb. So you must make your basic concepts clear about the blood supply. Okay. So now we will discuss the branches of the aortic arch. So aortic arch give three major vessels. Okay. The first vessel from arch of aorta is the BCT. What do you mean by BCT? BCT is the brachiocephalic trunk. BCT is the brachiocephalic trunk. This is brachiocephalic trunk. BCT. What is BCT? Brachiocephalic trunk. And then brachiocephalic trunk divides into right subclavian artery and right common carotid artery. Okay. Then second branch which originates from arch of aorta is this is left common carotid artery, and the third is the left subclavian artery. Okay. So these are the branches of the arch of the aorta. So arch of aorta give three major vessels. Okay. First is the brachiocephalic trunk. Brachiocephalic trunk divides into right subclavian artery. Remember, subclavian arteries supply to the upper limb. Okay. So common carotid artery enter into head and neck. Then common carotid artery divides here into the external carotid artery which supply to your face, and then internal carotid artery which supply to your brain. Remember. Okay. We will discuss internal carotid arteries when we will discuss blood supply of the head and neck in detail, and circle of Willis. Okay. Here we need only subclavian arteries which supply to your upper limb. So this brachiocephalic trunk divides behind sternoclavicular joint. Sternoclavicular joint. This is very important MCQs. Remember please that BCT, brachiocephalic trunk, divides behind the sternoclavicular joint and divides into right subclavian artery and right common carotid artery. So this is right subclavian artery. This is right subclavian artery. This is right common carotid artery. This is left common carotid artery which ascends and supply to your head and neck and then to your brain. And then this is the left subclavian artery, and left subclavian artery supply to your left upper limb. Okay. So here very important MCQ that left subclavian artery originate from directly arch of aorta. Right subclavian artery originate from the brachiocephalic trunk. Right common carotid artery originate from brachiocephalic trunk. Left common carotid artery directly originate from arch of aorta. So make it clear. Okay, please. Okay. Next, we need now subclavian arteries, because I have told that basically blood supply of upper limb is coming through the subclavian arteries. So right subclavian artery supply to right upper limb, left subclavian to the left up. Origin is different because left directly originate from arch of aorta. Next, now we will start the blood supply of the upper limb. Okay. So this is a subclavian artery. Okay. This is subclavian artery. Let's suppose this is right subclavian artery. Branches will be same whether right subclavian or left subclavian. Okay. So right subclavian artery Right subclavian artery originate or it's a branch of the brachiocephalic trunk, which brachiocephalic trunk divides behind the sternoclavicular joint. And then subclavian artery is divided into three parts with the help of subclavian artery divided into three parts with the help of scalenus anterior muscle, with the help of scalenus anterior muscle. So this is first part, this is second part, and this is third part. So subclavian artery divided into three parts with the help of scalenus anterior. Let's suppose this is the subclavian artery. So anteriorly muscle which is attached is the scalenus anterior. So this artery now divided into three parts. Okay. So scalenus anterior muscle divides subclavian artery. Which muscle? Scalenus anterior. Scalenus anterior muscle. Okay. Scalenus anterior muscle divides subclavian artery into three parts. You can write it. Okay. Then now we will discuss branches of the subclavian artery, which are very important. Branches of the subclavian artery. So first part of subclavian artery, give three branches. First part of subclavian artery give three branches, three arteries. First is the vertebral artery, which is very important. Vertebral artery is a branch of the subclavian artery. Mostly students confuse in exam and they mark subclavian artery is a branch of carotid artery. No, vertebral artery they mark is a branch of the carotid artery, but vertebral artery is a branch of the subclavian artery. First part branch. Okay. So and the vertebral artery it supplies to the and it goes to your posterior portion of the brain. Okay. So it communicate with circle of the villus. It supplies to your brain and spinal cord. This is very important artery. Okay, vertebral artery, and it ascends from this posterior cervical region. So a famous test cricketer, Australian test cricketer Philip Hughes was injured with the during a cricket match, I think in